You tried running several TikTok accounts at once, and they keep getting linked or banned in batches. You build them clean, you space out the posts, the content is fine, and they still die together within a few days of each other. One goes down, then the next, then the whole set. If that is happening to you, the content is almost never the reason. The real reason is that TikTok has already worked out the accounts are the same person, and once it knows that, one ban cascades to all of them. In this video, I am going to walk you through the actual stack that keeps them separate, the same way an operator or an agency would set it up. I run a hardware proxy farm in Singapore. Real phones, real SIM cards from Singtel, M1 and StarHub on the live carrier network. So when accounts get linked, I can usually tell you which signal gave them away because I see this pattern constantly. This is legitimate multi-account work, the kind an agency does to manage client accounts cleanly. It is not a trick and it is not magic. It is a few boring things done consistently. Let us go through them in order. Start with how TikTok actually links accounts, because if you do not understand this, nothing else makes sense. There are three signals it ties accounts together on, and you have to beat all three. The first is the IP address you connect from. The second is the device fingerprint, which is your browser, your screen size, your fonts, your hardware signature, the whole machine. The third is your behavior, meaning when you post, how you scroll, the hours you are active, the way you tap around the app. Two accounts that share any one of these start to look related. Two accounts that share all three are obviously the same person. Here is the trap most people fall into. They fix one signal and assume they are safe. They buy a proxy, they change the IP, and they leave the same browser and the same daily routine across all 10 accounts. Then they wonder why the account still got linked. They did not fix the device and they did not fix the behavior. The IP is necessary, but on its own it is only a third of the picture. Keep that in your head for the whole video because it is the thing almost everyone gets wrong. It helps to think about what TikTok is actually building behind the scenes. It is keeping a graph, a map of which accounts share which signals. Every time two accounts overlap on an IP, a device, or a pattern, the edge between them in that graph gets stronger. You never see this map, but it is running the whole time. When one account in a tightly connected cluster gets actioned, the platform looks at everything attached to it and asks whether those should go too. That is why bans come in batches instead of one at a time. You are not getting unlucky 10 times in a row. You are getting caught once, and the link is doing the rest of the work for them. Now the mistake that quietly ruins more batches than anything else. Your home IP ties every account together the moment you log in once from it. Maybe you logged in from home just to fix a password. Maybe the proxy dropped for a second and the session fell back to your real line without you noticing. It does not matter why. The instant two accounts touch the same home IP, TikTok connects them and that link does not expire because you switched back the next day. Your home IP is the single thread that ties every account you have ever touched back to one person. Treat it as radioactive for account work. If an account has ever been near your real line, assume the link already exists. The opposite mistake is reaching for a cheap data center IP. It is tempting because it is cheap and fast, but the data center IP is an instant tell. TikTok reads the network type behind your connection. A data center IP has the wrong SN. There is no carrier behind it, and it usually sits in a range that is already flagged because everyone else is using it for the exact same thing. A real person in Singapore is on Singtel, M1 or StarHub on a 4G or 5G line. That is what the platform expects to see from a real user. A data center IP looks like a server, and servers do not sit there scrolling TikTok all evening, so that whole category is out before you even start. Which brings us to the core rule, the one everything else is built on. One clean mobile line per account, not one line shared across three accounts, not a rotating pool spread over a whole batch. One identity sits on one clean line, and that line is its home address. The moment you share a line across accounts, you have recreated the home IP problem with extra steps. Two accounts on one IP are linked, and it does not matter whether that IP is your house or a proxy. The separation only works if it is actually separate. If you take one thing from this video, take that. Next, sticky sessions and why they matter so much for this. For account work, you want a sticky session, not aggressive rotation. A real phone keeps roughly the same address through a browsing session. If your IP changes halfway through, the account looks like it teleported across the city in the middle of a scroll, and that is a flag, not a feature. So you set the sticky duration to cover a whole session. The account logs in, browses, posts, logs out, all on one stable address. You can let the carrier rotate the IP between sessions, the way a real phone naturally does over a day. You just never want it rotating in the middle of a login or an upload. Now the half that people forget even when they get the IP right. You have to pair each line with a separate browser profile or a real device so the fingerprints differ too. Picture this. You run 10 accounts through 10 perfectly clean lines, but you do it all from one browser on one laptop. The fingerprint is identical across all 10, so TikTok links them straight back together. IP work wasted. A different person uses a different phone, so each account needs its own environment. That is either a separate anti-detect browser profile with its own fingerprint or a genuinely separate device. The real unit here is one clean line plus one separate profile, never the line on its own, and the fingerprint is more than just the name of your browser. It is the screen resolution, the list of fonts installed, the way the graphics card draws a hidden test image, the audio stack, the language headers your browser sends with every request. A good anti-detect browser gives each profile a different, internally consistent set of all of these, so each one looks like a separate real machine. A bad setup changes the obvious things and leaves the rest identical, which is worse than doing nothing because now you look like someone actively trying to hide. If you go the real device route instead, that is the cleanest possible fingerprint because it is a real phone, but it costs more and it is harder to scale. Most operators land on anti-detect profiles for the bulk and real devices for the accounts that matter most. A smaller detail that catches people matching time zone and locale to the IP. If your IP says Singapore but your browser is set to New York time and US English, that mismatch is exactly the kind of thing platforms look for. It is a cheap, obvious tell, so line up the basics. Time zone set to Singapore, language and locale consistent with a Singapore IP. You want the whole identity to agree with itself, top to bottom, so nothing sticks out. Then there is warming, which is the step everyone wants to skip because it is slow. A brand new account that immediately posts 5 videos and follows 200 people looks like exactly what it is, a freshly made account being pushed hard, so you warm it instead. For the first while, the account just watches, scrolls, likes a few things, behaves like a person who downloaded the app yesterday. Only after that does it start posting, and even then gradually. This is the part that decides whether an account survives its first week, and it is the part people rush. Warming an account slowly is far cheaper than rebuilding a whole batch after they all get flagged on day 2. Once an account is set up, keep its routine consistent. Same line, same profile, every single time. Do not move it between devices because one was handy that evening. Do not log in from a different IP because it was convenient. Consistency is the whole point. It is what makes an account look like one real person with one phone who lives in one place. The agencies that run client accounts cleanly are almost boring about this. Same identity, same line, same environment every session for the life of the account. That discipline is the actual product. So let me put the batch killing mistakes in one place because these are the ones that take out the whole set at once. The first is reusing an IP across accounts, which links them directly and instantly. The second is one slip from your real home IP, which threads the whole batch back to you personally. The third is rotating the IP mid-session, which makes even a single, otherwise clean account look broken and suspicious. Any one of these can sink a whole batch in a day. They are worth being genuinely paranoid about because they are silent. You will not get the warning. The accounts just start going down together. People always ask how many accounts they can run per line. The answer is one. One identity per line, full stop. If you need to run 20 accounts, you need 20 lines, not one line working overtime. I know that is not what people want to hear because lines cost money. But the whole model only holds together if you treat each account as a real separate person, and a real person does not share their phone with 19 strangers. The cost of the lines is the cost of doing this properly. Sharing lines to save money is how you lose the accounts the lines were protecting. Now the honest caveat, because I am not going to sell you something a proxy cannot do. The proxy is necessary, but it is not sufficient. A clean mobile line fixes the network signal. It gives each account a believable separate local IP, and that genuinely is required. You cannot do this without it. But it does not fix the other two signals on its own. If your content is junk, or you post like a robot, or you ignore warning and run the exact same routine across every account, you will still get banned even on perfect EPS. The proxy buys you a clean foundation. Your behavior and your content build the house on top of it. Both have to be right. Anyone telling you a proxy alone keeps accounts alive is selling you a story. And to be clear about what this whole setup actually is, it is the same stack an agency uses to manage client accounts cleanly. There is nothing exotic in it. One clean line per account, sticky sessions, a separate fingerprint per identity, matching locale, slow warming, and a consistent routine. That is the entire thing. Get those right and your accounts stop dying in batches, because TikTok stops being able to tell they are the same person. Get them wrong in any one place and the whole set is linked again. If you are setting this up the right way, here is what I would point you at. We run a real Singapore mobile proxy farm, actual Singtel, M1, and StarHub SIM cards on real phones, not a data center pretending to be mobile. You get one clean line per account. With sticky sessions you control so an account holds its IP through a whole session. There is a free trial so you can wire a single account onto a clean Singapore line and watch it hold before you scale the batch out. The link is in the description and it goes to the homepage. Use the code YT30 when you sign up. Try it on one account first, prove the foundation, then build from there. If this helped you understand why your accounts kept getting linked, subscribe because I go deep on this stuff from the operator side every week. The next video goes further into warming new accounts and keeping each routine consistent, which is the half the proxy cannot do for you. That is the part that decides which accounts actually survive. I will see you in that one.